Picture this, a player standing on center court with her back against the wall, watching her opponent play the kind of tennis that makes commentators start writing the post-match headlines early, and then somehow, less than an hour later, that same player is the one lifting her arms while her rival can barely find strength to shake hands at the net. Because that is precisely what unfolded at Wimbledon when Alex walked off the grass with a win so lopsided by the end that anyone who only glanced at the final score would have no idea just how close this match came to going the other way. And by the time you finish hearing this story, you'll understand exactly why people inside the sport are suddenly whispering her name as one of the scariest floaters left in this entire draw. And here's the part that makes this whole situation even wilder, because the prize for surviving that scare isn't a soft landing or a break to catch her breath. It's a date with the reigning Wimbledon champion and the #1 player on the planet, Iga Swiatek, and we'll dig into that massive showdown a little later. But first you need to understand how close this story almost never got written the way it did, because when Alex stepped onto the grass to face Maya Joint in the second round, there was already history simmering underneath the surface. These two know each other's games inside and out, they've traded blows before, and every time they share a court the tennis gets tense, physical, and loaded with something extra. Both of them are tagged as part of the next wave that's supposed to take over the sport in the coming years, so neither one wanted to hand the other a single ounce of mental leverage heading into whatever rivalry this becomes. And from the opening points, it was obvious Maya hadn't shown up to be a good sport about the occasion. She came out swinging, taking the ball early, stepping inside the baseline, and forcing Alex into defensive positions she clearly wasn't comfortable in. It looked like Maya had one plan and one plan only: sprint out to a lead before Alex ever found her footing. And for a stretch, that plan worked beautifully. Alex looked a step behind the whole time. Her first serve wasn't buying her any cheap points. Her forehand kept landing short instead of deep. And instead of setting the tempo, she was scrambling to survive whatever Maya sent her way. Every time she tried to slow things down and extend a point, Maya would find another gear and shove her back behind the baseline. And if you know anything about grass court tennis, you know that's exactly the situation you don't want to be in. This surface rewards whoever attacks first, whoever takes the initiative. And for nearly the whole opening set, that player was Maya. The scoreboard kept tilting further in her direction. But here's the thing almost nobody watching picked up on in the moment. Alex wasn't rattled. There was no racket abuse, no muttering, no visible frustration bubbling over. She just kept walking back to the baseline after every loss point with this strange, quiet calm, like she already knew something the rest of us hadn't figured out yet. And if you've watched enough tennis, you start to notice that the best competitors tip their hand through body language long before the scoreboard catches up. Alex's composure was screaming that this match was far from finished. But belief by itself doesn't win sets. You actually have to adjust, and Maya kept hammering away at the corners, mixing in heavy cross-court strikes with sudden changes of direction that kept Alex guessing and off balance. She earned every bit of that lead through pure execution, and eventually she closed out the first set 6-3. And honestly, if you'd flipped on the broadcast at that exact moment, you would have bet everything on a routine straight sets win for the Australian. Social media was already piling on with people wondering if Alex had finally run into someone she simply couldn't crack. But tennis has a habit of humbling anyone who tries to predict it after just one set, because the matches that people remember years later are usually decided by who figures things out first, and whatever happened during that 90-second changeover between sets might end up being the single most important stretch of the entire tournament for her. Nobody outside her box knows the exact words exchanged. Maybe her coach reminded her to trust the shots that got her here. Maybe she reminded herself of tougher spots she'd clawed her way out of before, or maybe she simply sat there and quietly diagnosed the pattern that had been beating her for the last 30 minutes. Whatever it was, the player who walked back out for set 2 was a completely different competitor, not physically, not emotionally, but mentally, and the shift started small. She stopped rushing every point. She let go of the urge to end rallies too early and started giving herself more room over the net, more margin, while still keeping the pressure on Maya. And that one small tweak completely changed the rhythm of the entire match, because Maya was suddenly not getting fed the same pace she'd been feasting on the entire first set. Now she had to manufacture her own power instead of redirecting Alex's. And that sounds like a minor detail, but at this level tiny shifts create massive consequences down the line. Then came the second adjustment, and this one was even sharper. Alex started returning serve deep through the middle instead of hunting for low percentage angles, which took away Maya's favorite weapon, her first strike after the serve, and it forced Maya to hit one more ball than she wanted, then another, and those extra shots slowly turned into unforced errors. One mistake became two two became a pattern, and momentum in tennis almost never flips all at once. It shifts 1 point at a time, one game at a time, one small decision at a time, and Alex kept making the right ones. Rallies stretched longer. The pressure quietly changed hands, and whatever confidence Maia had been playing with in that first set started leaking away. Meanwhile, Alex looked stronger with every passing minute. And if there's one trait that separates the truly elite from a merely talented, it's the ability to stay level no matter what the scoreboard says. When they're down, they don't spiral. When they're up, they don't get sloppy. And Alex showed exactly that kind of discipline, celebrating good points with restraint before immediately resetting for the next battle. And that discipline let her level keep climbing while Maia struggled to find any answer to slow the bleeding. The first break of the set arrived soon after, and you could feel the entire stadium sense the shift in real time. Every winner Alex struck drew a louder reaction. Every extended rally seemed to bend a little more in her favor. Even the way the two players carried themselves between points had completely flipped. Earlier, Maia walked with total confidence. Now it was Alex moving with purpose, while Maia kept glancing toward her box, searching for some kind of answer that wasn't coming. And this is where tennis turns into pure psychology. Once a player starts believing she's cracked the code, every single shot gets more conviction behind it. And once the other player starts second-guessing herself, even a routine, easy balls start looking difficult. Alex's forehand was landing with far more authority now. Her backhand stayed rock solid under pressure. Her footwork across the grass got lighter and quicker, and most importantly, she stopped letting Maia control the terms of engagement. She became the aggressor. And that's the exact moment this match tilted for good, not because of one highlight. Real winner, not because of a single lucky bounce, but because Alex had quietly seized control of the patterns, deciding every single point. Every rally was starting exactly where she wanted to start. Every exchange was unfolding at the pace she preferred. Every game was piling more weight onto Maia's shoulders. And pressure works in a strange way. When your confidence is high, pressure sharpens your focus. But once that confidence starts cracking, that same pressure starts manufacturing mistakes, and Maia's error count kept climbing. A forehand sailed long. A backhand clipped the tape. A routine volley drifted wide. None of these mistakes looked dramatic on their own, but stacked together, they completely reshaped the match. And Alex sensed the shift instantly, because great competitors always know the exact moment an opponent's belief starts to buckle. And instead of easing off once she grabbed a lead, she pushed even harder, stepping inside the baseline more often, hunting second serves, opening up the court beautifully before finishing points with controlled precision instead of reckless power. This wasn't emotional tennis anymore. This was calculated, surgical. Every decision built with purpose. Every shot setting up the next one. Every rally feeling like a trap that Maia kept walking straight into. And by the midpoint of the second set, something remarkable had taken shape. The player who looked completely in command 30 minutes earlier was now the one, searching desperately for solutions. The crowd could feel it, the commentators could feel it. Even Maia's shoulders told the story before the scoreboard did. Alex had completely flipped the script, and the truly frightening part for the rest of this tournament is that she still looked like she had another gear left in the tank, because what happened in that final set wasn't just domination, it was something far more punishing. And that's exactly where this story becomes the kind you'll want to tell someone else, because the moment the third set began, the entire atmosphere around the court shifted again. Not just on the scoreboard, not just in the rallies, but in the air itself. For the first time all afternoon, it was Maia who looked like she was chasing answers, while Alex looked like someone who had already solved the entire puzzle in front of her. And that kind of mental flip is one of the hardest things to undo in professional tennis, because once a player starts believing every big point is slipping away from her, hesitation creeps in, and hesitation on grass is a death sentence. The opening game of that deciding set proved it instantly. Alex stepped up to the baseline with total conviction. No trace of panic, no sign of fatigue, nothing suggesting she dropped the first set less than an hour earlier. If anything, she looked fresher than she had at the very start of the match. Her footwork sharper, her first step quicker. She was reading Maia's serve earlier, every return landing with real intent, every rally immediately putting pressure back on the Australian. And within minutes, she had the first break locked up, 1-0 on the scoreboard. And most people watching probably assumed, okay, she's got the early edge. But what happened next caught almost everyone off guard, because Alex didn't ease up. She pressed the accelerator harder. Every champion understands this one simple truth: when your opponent is wounded, you don't give her a chance to breathe. You finish the job. And that was exactly the mindset Alex carried into every point from there. She held her own serve with ease, then went right back on the attack. Every second serve from Maia turned into an opportunity. Every short ball got punished. Every hint of hesitation got exposed immediately. The same rallies Maya had been winning comfortably in that first set now looked completely different. Alex was dictating the direction, choosing the pace, deciding exactly where. Every exchange would end, and that right there is the very definition of controlling a tennis match. And once she pushed the lead to 2-0, something even more remarkable happened. Instead of tightening up to protect what she'd built, she got even more fearless. And this is where experience really shows itself, because a lot of young players go conservative once they sense victory getting close. They stop playing to win and start playing not to lose. Alex did the complete opposite. She kept attacking, kept trusting her forehand, kept trusting her movement, kept trusting every single adjustment she'd made since dropping that first set. And the reward came almost immediately. Another break, 3-0, and the pressure on Maya was becoming enormous. She wasn't simply trying to win points anymore. She was trying to stop a landslide from swallowing her whole. And sometimes in tennis, momentum becomes something you can't fully explain with numbers. You just feel it. The crowd feels it. Every winner sounds a little louder. Every mistake feels a little heavier. Every point seems to carry more weight than it did 5 minutes earlier. And that was the exact atmosphere building around Alex. Every time she walked to the baseline, she looked completely convinced she'd win the next point. And that kind of belief is contagious. The crowd started reacting to every spectacular exchange, every clean return, every perfectly timed passing shot. She wasn't just winning anymore. She was putting on a show. And when confidence and entertainment collide like that, something special usually follows. To her credit, Maya never stopped fighting. She chased down every ball she could reach, hunted for new patterns, tried to change the pace, shorten points where she could, mixed in different spins, hoping something would stick. But nothing worked, because Alex had slipped into that rare state athletes describe as the zone, where everything suddenly looks simple, where the hardest shots feel routine, where every decision arrives instantly without a hint of doubt. And here's the strange part. Those moments almost always show up right after surviving real adversity. Maybe dropping that first set is exactly what she needed. Maybe it forced a mental reset. Maybe it reminded her to trust her natural game instead of forcing shots that weren't there. Whatever the reason, the transformation was impossible to miss, and the scoreboard kept climbing in her favor for 0-0. And by this stage, Maya's shoulders had visibly dropped, not because she'd stopped trying, but because Alex simply wasn't giving her anything to work with. And one thing elite players understand better than almost anyone is how scoreboard pressure works. Even if every single game goes to deuce, staring at a 4-0 deficit next to your name creates a weight that's hard to describe. And Alex knew it. She refused to gift a single cheap point, chasing down every drop shot, defending every corner, attacking every short ball that came her way, celebrating each big winner with controlled fire before immediately locking back in for the next point. And that emotional discipline deserves real credit, because excitement is exactly the kind of thing that causes unforced errors, and she never let it distract her. Soon the score read 5-0, and by now everyone inside that stadium understood they were watching something special unfold. Remember, this was the exact same player who had lost the opening set less than 90 minutes earlier, and now she stood one game away from delivering one of the most dominant deciding sets of the entire tournament. And the final game summed up everything she'd done so brilliantly throughout that whole afternoon. Sharp returns, smart shot selection, patience through the long exchanges, aggression at exactly the right moments. No panic anywhere in sight, no wasted chances. One last clean winner, arms raised, a deep breath, game, set, match. Alex completed an absolutely stunning comeback, winning 3-6, 6-2, 6-love. And take a second to really sit with how ridiculous that final score actually is, because after dropping that opening set, she allowed her opponent to win only 2 more games across the entire rest of the match. That's not simply clawing your way back, that's total, complete domination. And this win tells a bigger story than just one scoreline. Earlier in her career, Alex often leaned on pure shot-making talent. But today, we watched something different unfold. We saw maturity, we saw patience, we saw genuine tactical intelligence. We saw a competitor capable of diagnosing problems mid-match instead of hoping they just fix themselves. And that particular skill is what separates the players who become champions from the ones who simply stay talented prospects forever. Every single Grand Slam eventually becomes a test of adaptation. Nobody makes it deep into the tournament without surviving some kind of storm. The best players in the world aren't the ones who never struggle. They're the ones who solve the struggle faster than everybody else on tour. And Alex passed that test in dramatic fashion. But now comes the challenge everyone's been buzzing about, because her reward isn't a favorable draw. It isn't extra rest. It isn't a soft landing spot. Instead, she's staring down the biggest mountain in the entire women's game, the world #1, the defending champion at Wimbledon, Iga Swiatek. For years now, IGA has been the player everybody wants to knock off. Her movement, her consistency, her ability to flip defense into offense in a single shot, her mental toughness under fire. She's built the resume of a genuine champion, and most opponents walk onto the court against her already convinced they need a flawless performance just to sniff a chance. But here's why this particular matchup suddenly feels so compelling. Alex isn't walking into this one wondering whether she belongs on this stage. That question just got answered emphatically. She belongs. She's earned her spot. She's proven she can recover after losing all the momentum in a match. She's shown she can make world-class adjustments while the pressure is at its absolute highest. And most importantly, she's going to step onto that court carrying confidence instead of fear. Will she go in as the favorite? Of course not. IGA remains one of the toughest competitors anywhere in the world, but Grand Slams have always had a soft spot for fearless players. Every unforgettable Wimbledon story starts with someone who refused to accept the odds stacked against them. Alex has already carved out a piece of history this tournament, and now she gets the chance to build something even bigger on top of it. One match, one opportunity, a strip of grass separating two seriously talented competitors. Can she pull off the biggest win of her career? Can she shock the defending champion in front of that crowd? Can she keep this run alive as one of the most